Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome back to Cricket Happening Show on this Saturday. It is the 12th of 12th or 13th, whatever. Well, dear friends and subscribers, as far as today's Saturday's Cricket Happening Show is concerned, you all know what I'm going to talk about. Yes, we are going to be talking about the Ashes Test Series. Today was the 4 days play, and this is a situation in which Australia find itself today. Now, tomorrow is the last day of the last day of the Ashes Test match, the first Test match between Australia and England. And well, I would very, very safely say that England are on the ascendant, because Australia, chasing 311 for victory, were 174 for 6 at close of play on the 4th day of the first Test match of the Investec Test Series between Australia and England. And so it essentially means 137 runs are needed tomorrow. Runs are not a problem, but they don't have much wickets. Only Brad Haddin, of one of the recognized batsmen, is there. Ashton Agar has been promoted in the batting order. He has come ahead of everybody, but whether he can recreate what he did in the first innings, that is the question. Well, if he does that, that would augur well for Australia, but it's not going to be easy. The new ball is due probably in 10 overs time, and also the ball is turning a lot. Tomorrow is going to be the 5th day. There will be a lot of wear and tear. Already there is. Graham Swan was getting extravagant turn today, so he's going to definitely continue with that, and I think Australia have a huge task on hand tomorrow. Well, if Australia can do it, that would be something I would say stupendous, if Australia could pull off the victory tomorrow. So we will talk about that and look at how things went on the 4th day's play in the Investec Test Series, and then we'll also have a brief look at the first one-day international of the series coming up, as Pakistan are in West Indies. They are touring West Indies, as you know, going to play one-day internationals. So tomorrow is the first one-day international, which sees this match played in Guyana. Now, Guyana is getting a match after a span of 2 years, I am told. So that is something. It would be good for all the Guyanese fans there. So basically, Pakistan and West Indies would be clashing in the first one-day international tomorrow at Guyana, at Georgetown, Guyana. Well, I'll come to that later. So basically, let's look at what happened in the 4th day of the Investec Test Series between England. As you know, England resuming at the overnight score. The partnership once again progressed in its merry way between Ian Bell and Stuart Broad. Broad 47, he went on to make 65 with 7 fours, but Ian Bell, as you know, he didn't have a good time against Australia last time, but this time Ian Bell really, I would say, really made a working century. I mean, looking at the situation of the game, Ian Bell played according to the needs of the situation. He really fought it out at the crease, even though, as I said, the pitch was not easy to bat on, but Ian Bell showed real class there in making 109, his 18th century in Test matches, of 267 deliveries, 15 fours in that effort. Other than that, Stuart Broad contributed 65 with 7 fours, and this partnership was broken when the score reached 356. So essentially, if you look at it, the last wicket, the 6th wicket, fell at 218. So we are looking at an 128 runs partnership for the 7th wicket, which was very vital, and that was the precise reason England reached 375 and set Australia a score of 311 to win the match. So Broad was goner. Broad was caught behind of the bowling of Pattinson for 65. After that, Ian Bell, after making 109 runs, was also caught behind by Haddin of the bowling of Stark. Swan and Anderson were quickly wrapped up. The innings was quickly wrapped up by Siddle. Peter Siddle came in and wrapped up the innings pretty quickly after that by dismissing Swan and Anderson in the same over, where he first picked up Graham Swan out for 9, and Anderson was also dismissed for a duck. So that was England's score. England 375 all out. The wickets were equally shared. Pattinson 201, Mitchell Starc 3 for 81, Ashton Agar 2 for 82, and Peter Siddle 3 for 85. As far as Australia were concerned, they had a target of 311, and one thought it is not going to be easy. But one good thing that happened for Australia was the openers got off to a very, very good start. In fact, England were really wondering from where the wicket is going to come, because it was, there was not any few edges. There was not, the batsmen were not in trouble at all. They were playing proper, in the sense they were really being able to negotiate the English seamers pretty well there. With Shane Watson and Chris Rogers. Shane Watson was the partner who was aggressive, but as far as Chris Rogers was concerned, Rogers bided his time at the crease, and both of them stitched together a partnership of 84. When the first wicket fell, and that was Stuart Broad, who actually got a ball which came in and rapped Watson on the pad, and then it went for a review and he was gone out. LBW bowled Broad for 46, but before that, this partnership, as I said, added and a very, very important 84 runs, and looked like Australia were absolutely on course here when that opening partnership was going. But when Broad actually nipped the wicket of Shane Watson for 46 with 8 boundaries, the score read 84 for 1. Ed Cowan continued to struggle, even though he hit 3 fours in his knock of 14, continued to struggle as Joe Root got a ball to turn out of the rough spot that has been created by the footmarks, and Jonathan Trott in the slips held the catch. He was gone for 14, so that made the score 111 for 2. And Chris Rogers, after playing a good hand, Anderson had his man. There was a sort of a definite ploy over there, because when Chris Rogers actually flicked the ball, I thought it was to short mid-wicket, Bell actually holding the catch, but you could see Anderson, once he took that wicket, he signaled to the dressing room, probably to David Saker, the bowling coach. So probably they had some sort of a plot for Chris Rogers, and that really worked. But Chris Rogers was impressive. As I said, he really occupied the crease and tried to anchor the Australian innings. But one good thing for Chris Rogers that happened is this was his maiden half century in Test cricket. So his maiden 15 Test cricket. So he made 52 with 8 fours, and that made the score 124 for 3. And then Michael Clarke and Stephen Smith were at the crease. Now Michael Clarke, well, he contributed 23 runs, and then he was caught behind by Pryor of Broad, but actually it went to the umpire decision review, but he was given out. So Michael Clarke was gone, caught by Pryor behind the stumps of the bowling of Broad for 23 with 2 fours. Stephen Smith had a very, very slow 17. He actually was grinding out 17 runs of 48 balls, 2 fours, and when Michael Clarke left, the score was 161 for 4. But suddenly, from 161 for 4, Australia collapsed to 164 for 6, from 161 for 3. When Clarke left, that was 161 for 4, and after that, Stephen Smith, Swan came in and picked up the wicket with some very good turn that he got out of the pitch. He picked up the wicket of Stephen Smith for 17 LBW for 2 boundaries, and Phil Hughes this time, who did very well in the first innings, could not really, he didn't even trouble the scorers, as Swan actually had him LBW bowled Swan for a duck. So that made the score 164 for 6, and after that it was left to Brad Haddin in the company of Ashton Agar, who made 98 on his Test debut. He was promoted in the batting order today ahead of Peter Siddle, Pattinson and Starc, which was the right way to go. And Ashton Agar was not out on 1 at stumps. Haddin was not out on 11 at stumps with 1 boundary. 174 was the final score for Australia at stumps on the 4th day. So thus meaning that another 137 runs are required on this particular pitch for Australia to win the match. As far as the bowling figures goes, it was Anderson 17 overs 4 maidens 1 for 44, Broad 16 overs 5 maidens 2 for 34, bowled well. Swan 28 5 64 2, got a lot of turn out of the wicket. Finn 8 overs 3 maidens none for 17, and Joe Root getting that ball to actually turn out of the rough, 2 overs no maiden 1 for 6. Now turning out of the rough is only one that we got from Joe Root, but tomorrow, as I said, the 5th day pitch is, I'm sure it is going to be pretty tough for the Australians. But it all depends on Brad Haddin. Now Brad Haddin is a recognized batsman, but Brad Haddin doesn't have much company. Ashton Agar, as I said, if you can't, one is expecting too much from Ashton Agar. If I'm sorry, if one is expecting a lot of runs from his blade. But you never know. And then they have Peter, Siddle, Pattinson and Stark yet to come. But Brad Haddin, the Australian hopes will totally lie on Brad Haddin. If Brad Haddin can get some good company from Aston Aggart for a long time, and then Brad Haddin himself plays some very good strokes, and he can do that. Time is not a problem. 137 runs in a day is absolutely possible. But as I said, the wickets are a problem for Australia. They have only 4 wickets left, and Brad Haddin remaining at the crease would be very vital. Now, as I said, for Australia, it's not going to be easy because the new ball is due within 10 overs, and then, as I said, the spinners are getting the ball to turn. Graham Swan, Joe Root, as I said, there are a lot of footmarks there. So already we saw Joe Root actually turn a ball out of the rough, and that is something could become a common occurrence tomorrow, especially on the final day. So one is really waiting for the 5th day to really dawn and see how things go and how Australia shape up to the English bowlers. So that would be a real test for the Australian batsmen. Well, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift over to the Caribbean. Now, Caribbean just saw the Tri-Series completed, with India actually winning the Tri-Series. Now it's back to business for the West Indies, as Pakistan are in West Indies, and Pakistan and West Indies would be facing each other in the first one-day international of the series, which is going to be played at the Providence ground in Guyana. Guyana is looking at a one-day international match after a span of 2 years, I'm told, due to the conflict that was happening between the government and the country's cricket board. Well, as far as Pakistan are concerned, they look to be a pretty good unit. Nasir Jamshed, Ahmed Shahzad would be probably opening the innings. They have Mohammad Hafiz. Looks like Pakistan. I feel very happy for Shahid Afridi, who has returned back to the fold. So he has made a comeback into the team, and as I said, he is a real asset. I mean, his batting, his bowling, and I thought he was definitely missed in the ICC Champions Trophy. And also Umar Akmal. The other good thing for Pakistan now is that Umar Akmal will be the wicketkeeper. So Umar Akmal being the wicketkeeper, what it does for Pakistan is that they can have an extra batsman, because Umar Akmal will fill up as a wicketkeeper batsman. So that is something good for Pakistan. And Umar Akmal has to definitely, one has to really watch what Umar Akmal comes up with, because one thing is he'll have lots of pressure because he'll be the wicketkeeper, and he will also have to bat well. The bowling, as usual, the Pakistani bowling lineup always looks very sharp, with Junaid Khan leading the pack along with Wahab Riaz and then Mohammad Irfan. They're all good bowlers, and it's not going to be easy for the West Indies. And as far as West Indies are concerned, they have Dwayne Bravo, the captain, returning back to the mix after missing lots of matches in the Tri-Series. West Indies, well, their opening seemed to be pretty strong as far as Chris Gayle and Johnson Charles are concerned. Because Johnson Charles, the same thing that applied for Pakistan also applies for West Indies. West Indies actually dropped Dinesh Ramadan from this, probably to include an extra batsman, which would be Lendl Simmons probably. And what they have done is Johnson Charles is again having a similar role to perform like Umar Akmal, because he'll be the wicketkeeper of the team, and he's also batsman. Let me tell you, Johnson Charles is in some good form, as he showed in the Tri-Series, and Chris Gayle and Johnson Charles, I feel that now they are slowly becoming an established opening combination for West Indies, and which is working well for them. Then the Bravo brothers, Darren Bravo and Dwayne Bravo. Lendl Simmons, the other match he played well, and Marlon Samuels, as you know, he has not been doing well at all. He had a very horrible Tri-Series if you look at his scores. So he would be probably wanting to do well on this match against Pakistan. Kieron Pollard also, much is to be expected. He didn't have a very good Tri-Series as far as the bat is concerned. And then Darren Sammy, always a good contributor, and the bowling will be in the hands of Kemar Roach and Tino Best, and Sunil Narine, as usual, always a thorn to the opposition with his very economical bowling and his ability to pick up a lot of wickets. Well, I know, dear fans and subscribers, I've been a bit under the weather today, so probably I've not been I would say I've not come out very smoothly on this show, but you know, as I said, the Cricket Happening show is pretty dear to me, so that's the reason I came out here to talk to you, dear friends and subscribers, on this Cricket Happening show. Hope you'll all bear with me. Thanks for your time and also for your business with Scotia. Thanks for your time today, and also for your continued cooperation on this cricket show. Your host will see you tomorrow. That's it from me. Thank you.